Um, does anybody have any concerns on any of these being completed within a single sprint? Let's start there, right? Because we got to make sure they're valid stories to begin with, and they're not valid if they can't be finished in a single sprint, right? We've already determined that. So does anybody here have any concerns about any of these? All right. So Denelson says cleaning the data is a time-consuming process. Oh, excuse me. I skipped ahead. Sorry. Denelson says cleaning the data may take too long for a sprint. Lakshmi says cleaning data is a time-consuming process. Yeah, I agree. That one catches my eye too. Right? So oops. So I love this submission, but probably too long, right? Lakshmi says can't be done in a single sprint. Yeah, I agree, right? That one kind of probably not can be broken out a little bit more, right? Here's another thing for you guys to consider. You also have to consider the roles. Because, you're assigning different resources to each one of these tasks, right? And in a lot of cases, those those roles have different costs, right? Do you need a data scientist for this role? Excuse me, for this story? Rohan says, I hope the current data can be transferred within a sprint. Yeah, good point, Rohan. Sometimes it takes a lot to transfer data, right? Just because you identify data doesn't mean you're going to get access right away. There might be rules and laws and paperwork to fill out. So yeah, a good call, Rohan. Absolutely. Rahul says nope, which I think Rahul's replying to my question about data scientists. Yeah, do you need a data scientist to clean data? Anybody else want to comment on that? Rahul says no. Lakshmi says, so how to break that? Yeah, we're going to get to that, Lakshmi. We're going to get to that. But anybody else? Does anybody else think that a data scientist is required? Yeah, Manoj says no. Yeah, right? So think about that also, right? This is probably a data analyst role or a BI role or data engineering role, right? Lakshmi says can be done by data analyst. I agree with Rahul. Leo says no, but we're short on budget. Yeah, well, that's also true. Okay, Uzman. Uzman, I don't like to single people out, but I do like to hear people's rationale. So if you're comfortable, let us know why you think a data scientist is required for that. I'm happy to be wrong if that's the case. But Uzman, you don't have to if you don't want to, but if you want to share why you think that's the case, let us know. But the point is that I want you guys to think about that, right? Make sure you're picking out the appropriate roles for this, okay? As a data scientist, about data pipeline quality data available. As a data engineer, I need to find relevance. Okay, so now, okay, we focused on this one. What about this one here, guys? Is this a data scientist task, and can it be done in 2 weeks? So now we're talking about the bolded one on line 6. Leo says we're just starting the business. Yeah, you're right, Leo. You're right. Sometimes, you know, who knows, right? We're going to have to do a lot of rules, right? Okay, Sadowinski says no for line 6. Anybody else have opinions on the highlighted one or on the bolded one? Yassine says, not a data scientist task, and I think it can't be done. No, I believe that the sprint can be too long for a sprint, more than one sprint by Osama. Yeah, guys, I think you're on the right track. Sounds great, right? Like, hey, we need to build data pipelines. Let me make that a story, right? But can it be done in a sprint? Probably not. Right? You can adjust it, right? You can adjust it and say, well, there's going to be multiple data sources, so how about I just focus on one data source? Right? There's different adjustments you can make. I think pipelines may take more time. Yeah, I agree, Rohan. I think most of the chat also agrees with that, right? Sounds great, right? Sounds like a great story. But it's definitely one of those where the Scrum Master is going to kick it back to you and say, that's not 2 weeks. Try again, right? And hey, guys, by the way, look, I love that we're on a theme of data. But if you're on the sidelines or you want to do another contribution, we have all of these to choose from, right? Like, I get it that we're focused on data collection side, and that's great. But don't be afraid to suggest other ones, right? Like you could be doing something on model design. You could be doing something on the data enrichment. You could be doing something on visualizations, right? Let me show you some that I might include. And I'm not going to necessarily include the methodology ones because I don't want to spoil it for you guys. But I'll just give you what I see from my like Scrum Master side, right? Because somebody like me is going to have more continuous contact with the client. So I'll give you an idea of how I would write these, and maybe that'll help you understand it, okay? All right. So let me just highlight some of these. And I think I made a mistake here. I wrote these with you know, I just made these up right now, but I think I'm going to be able to get a couple points across here. First of all, let me unbold this one here. So as the Scrum Master, as the Chief Data Scientist, I'm also going to be conducting the meetings with the client, right? Those need to be reflected in your plan. So this is what I would write for those types of meetings. The weekly story that you see here might be a repeating story. You can have stories that repeat, right? They're just executed at different times. They're executed within different sprints, right? But these are the types of like what we would refer to as like housekeeping tasks that are required for a project like this, right? So this is me adding housekeeping tasks to a project. Okay? Let's look at the next two. Oops, sorry. Oh, come on. Let's look at these two, right? It's super tempting to just say, as a systems engineer, I'm going to deploy a test environment. Is that reasonable in 2 weeks? Probably not, right?